Hi, I'm Dr. Jessica Reinig. I'm a board-certified reproductive endocrinology and infertility specialist, and I'm going to talk to you about IVF in under 90 seconds. Priming is the first part of IVF for many people, and that is when you're taking oral medications typically to line up all of your eggs at the same starting point so that they all grow together, and this maximizes your success. It also increases your ovaries' abilities to respond to the medication, so priming helps you do better. You then would have your baseline ultrasound and blood work to make sure that everything looks clear and that the priming worked, and then you start your stimulation. The stimulation is when you take injectable hormones to get your follicles and eggs to grow. These are typically FSH and LH, which are the same hormones that come from your brain to usually tell your ovaries to make an egg, just in much higher doses. During the stimulation, you also need to have a suppressive medication, either from the beginning or added later on. And what this does is prevent you from ovulating, because your brain is not going to understand what you're doing. It's just going to see that your estrogen is going really, really high, and it's going to think it's time to ovulate, but it's not, until it is. And when it is, that's when we give you the trigger shot. So the trigger shot is what causes final maturation of the eggs. It gets the eggs to release from the side of the follicle into the fluid of the follicle so we can actually retrieve them, which we do about 35 to 37 hours after the trigger shot so that you don't actually ovulate before we get to them. That's the egg retrieval procedure, which is done under anesthesia and all through the vagina. That day we find out how many eggs we get and we fertilize them with the sperm. What happens next is embryo culture when the embryos are grown in the lab, and then you proceed with a fresh or a frozen embryo transfer with very important luteal phase support hormones such as progesterone.